like I was about to say, it does contain monsters that I do not recommend for new beginners. Much of the area is probably dead or undead. The shrubs may be half dead or dead, and much of the original wildlife will be undead. This is very, very difficult to fight if you're doing with a complete beginner. Also, if there's a weather in the area, it might be an evil weather, which means that it may rain toxic blood, or perhaps acid, or perhaps glowing mist, or whatever. And all of these can either kill your dwarves, or they can kill them and turn them into zombies, or it can kill them and turn them into... No, it can give them syndromes, like diseases, like they go around and be dizzy all the time for the rest of their lives. And God knows what more. It can do loads and loads of things. So none of these purple areas you want to settle in for your first game. Maybe I should mention the 3 levels of savagery on the evil areas. They are easiest sinister, the normal, or not normal, say middle savagery level is haunted, and the worst is terrifying. I don't think we have a terrifying area here, but maybe I can find one later. No, only sinister. In addition to this, there is a good area, like I probably mentioned before. The good area also has 3 savagery levels, and the good areas are not exactly always easier, but if you look at the easiest good area, I think it's called Serene, and this is the normal good area, which is called Mirthful, and the hardest good area is called Joyous Wilds. The good areas contain some monsters. Well, most of the new monsters in the good areas are easier. However, it does also contain unicorns and satyrs. Now, the satyrs are usually pretty nice. They usually don't attack you, but if they do, they will be really hard guys to take down. And the unicorns are always annoying and always hard. However, I think they are only in Joyous Wilds, which are the hardest good area. This is the middle, like I said before. And this is the easiest good area. It's Serene. Let's see. Is there something else? No. And I should go into something more. Yes, trees. As you can see here, there's something they call trees here, and it tells you how many trees there are in the area. If you go into shrubland, there's some trees, woodland, and if you go into desert, see if we got a desert. Maybe we don't. If you go into a tundra, there are almost no trees or none at all. And if you go into a glacier, there are none. And if you go into a mountain, there are none. What you want for a starting area is an area with many trees. And this is because you want to have trees for things like beds and barrels and cages. The other thing worth mentioning is vegetation. The more vegetation you got, the better. And that's because the vegetation you can pick up, you can process it, you can make it into food, you can plant some of the shrubbery or bushes or things you've picked up and make food out of it, more food out of it. And the next thing I should mention is probably the temperature. For your first area, I would probably want a warm or maybe hot area. And this is because in the temperate areas down here, the water will probably freeze on the winter, and this can be annoying and can be even dangerous sometimes. If a dwarfs are in the water when it freezes, they actually instantly die, unless they fix that. I don't think they have. But also having running water is really good. It's not so much an issue on the temperate area, because you can make sort of a huge underground area with water in it and drink it whenever you want. Usually you don't want to drink it though, you want to drink alcohol. I'll explain that later. However, you want water for cleaning wounds and cleaning your dwarves if they are dirty or bloody or whatever. You don't want to have an area which is either cold or freezing, because either of these areas, the ground can be covered in snow for large times of the year, and it can be dangerous even on freezing areas for your dwarves to go out when it gets cold enough. Also, as the weather gets colder, usually are less trees and plants. But yeah, you probably don't want to have a scorching area, and maybe not a hot area, because on the scorching areas the water might evaporate, even on the rivers. And like I said, you want to have water. On the hot areas they might evaporate some, probably not all of the year, but maybe on the summer. Another thing worth mentioning is that you probably don't want to settle next to the ocean for your first fort at least, because next to the ocean all the water is salt water and you have to process it, and it's really annoying to get it non-salty. Maybe I'll show a clip later on how to do that, I don't know, we'll see. Yes, you probably don't want to settle near the ocean anyway, since the FPS might drop a lot if you're near waves, and especially if the water freezes during the winter, your game might actually crash because of it. Is there something else? Yes, now I should go into the clay, the soil, and the shallow metals. Now, usually here you can also see aquifer sometimes, and for your first map, you don't want to have an aquifer. But since I turned that off, in my game I won't see it, so I can't show you. But it will say here aquifer in blue text, and that's something you don't want to settle in for his first map, since the stones or the soil in that area can be filled with water. So as you dig down, it fills up with water, and you can't dig more. You must remove the water, and it's really troublesome, really. So for your first map, don't settle in an aquifer. You probably want to have very deep soil, or at least you must have some soil, because you can only have farms on the soil unless you somehow get soil above the stone layer. However, that's a little bit troublesome for a beginner, I think. I think it's much easier to start out in an area which has soil, and then have underground farms on the soil. You probably want clay, since with clay you can make pottery items, which you can either store items in or you can sell it. I usually don't use clay, but it's good to have an area with clay compared to not having it. You probably also